Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rance here with you alongside Tommy Chrysan. TK coming to you, presented by Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in Baton Rouge. I'm brought to you by the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, coming to you from Pete Goldsby Field, the home of the Baton Rouge Rougarou, where there's the annual Summer Slam baseball tournament that's going on here at Alex Fox Stadium, as well as Lee Hines Field. The 20th year probably of the Summer Slam high school baseball tournament that I've put on for many, many years. 16 teams from Louisiana and Mississippi. And we're presented by LaBerge Casino here in Baton Rouge. The Barstool Sportsbook is going to be the place to be to watch all the College World Series action this weekend, including LSU, 6 o'clock Saturday night. If you're looking for a place to watch great food, go to Barstool Sportsbook inside LaBerge Casino.
All right, Ronnie has froze up there. Happy Friday to everyone. Happy Father's Day weekend to one and all. Go ahead, Ronnie. I think you had a little.
Yeah, cut out on me here. So tomorrow, of course, everybody wanting to talk LSU baseball. The Tigers back in the Omaha for the first time in 6 years, which is forever in LSU baseball terms. And Paul Skeens, I'm sure, will go on the bump tomorrow for LSU. That way, if you throw him in game one and you win, you're in a much better situation, even though probably Wake Forest is waiting for you. And you get a chance to bring him back and let him pitch a second time in either a first game of the championship series or elimination game later in the week to get to the championship series. A lot of hardware going out to Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens. They're winning a bunch of awards. But there's a big story brewing down in Florida, TK, and that is the University of Miami job is open down there in Coral Gables, and it's one of the biggest jobs in college baseball. If we were having this conversation 20 years ago, it'd be an argument made that maybe it's a top 3 job in the country. I don't know if you can say that these days, but the same University of Miami has some cachet still. It's one of the blue bloods of the sport going back for 50, 60 years. I would say it's a top 10, 15 job in the country. And a guy who LSU fans are very familiar with, a guy by the name of Paul Mainieri, is talking with the University of Miami, interviewing today down in Miami for that job. And Paul Mainieri, at 64, 65 years of age, will be getting inducted into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame the last weekend of July this year, who's been out of coaching 2 seasons. Not that big of a deal. Has a lot of energy still, plays golf every day. We heard his name mentioned last year as a possible Notre Dame candidate. And now he is obviously there's some interest on both sides to have a conversation. Oh, by the way, Dan Radakovich is the athletic director at the University of Miami, former assistant AD at LSU under Skip Bertman, who spent time at Clemson before going to the University of Miami. So these two are very familiar with each other. And obviously, Dan Radakovich can get any kind of information he needs when it comes to Paul Mainieri. Knew him personally initially, but also, obviously has lots of ties to Baton Rouge. So what's your reaction to Paul Mainieri talking with the University of Miami about that job?
I'm a little bit surprised, to be honest with you. I would figure, he's retired and playing golf and has got family in Baton Rouge and just built a nice house a couple of years ago in St. Gabriel. So I'm a little surprised that he would want to get back into the rat race with NIL and transfer portal, which really wasn't around when he was there. It was just beginning to scratch when he was bailing out at LSU when he retired. So I'm a little bit surprised. There's some other big names bandied about for the Miami Hurricane baseball job. I'm surprised he is interviewing. I'd be most surprised if he got it.
I'm really not surprised, Tommy. I mean, this day and age, 65 is like 55. It's not like what you and I thought back when we were kids that, that's retirement age and all that. Like, people work until their 70s. A lot of coaches, Wayne Graham, look at Mike Martin at Florida State. They coach Wayne Graham to his 80s, Mike Martin into his late 70s. So it's not like it used to be. And Paul Mainieri retired from LSU, stepped down at 63 years of age or something like that. I mean, that's super young. And he's feeling good. He's obviously super healthy, loves the game of golf, but you can't do that every single day for the next 20 years, 30 years of your life. And so it doesn't shock me at all that after a couple of years that maybe he might have rejuvenated his batteries and want to get back in the game for one more push for another 5 to 8 year run, let's say. And it's also in a city that he's got tremendous connections to. It's home for him. He went to high school there. He coached there. His father's a legend in those parts. I mean, so from that perspective, I would say that it doesn't surprise me that Paul Mainieri is interviewing and discussing the University of Miami opening.
Well, we'll see what happens. A lot of other big names that are, being mentioned, from Troy Tulowitzki, former big leaguer, and of course was an assistant at Texas for a couple of years up until a year or so ago. Tom Walter, the head coach at Wake Forest, who was at UNO right after Katrina, and that wasn't really a measuring stick because of the mess in New Orleans with Katrina and the UNO athletic department. But he's obviously got Wake Forest #1 in the country and back in the World Series since back in the 50s when Wake Forest last went. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I'm sure there are other names involved.
Well, it's funny. Joe Girardi, the former big league manager and big league player, has shown some interest in that job. He's inquired about it. Also, there's JT Arteaga, who is a longtime assistant coach over there. Was a legendary player at the University of Miami. He's been an assistant there a while. He's a guy that will obviously get some run for that job. So it's if you're the University of Miami, you're going to do the due diligence. You're going to try to swing for the fences, just like LSU would do as far as going for your A choice. And I would think Tom Walters, with what he's done at Wake Forest, his familiarity with the conference, and all that, is somebody that they definitely would want to talk to. And you can't really do that until after their season ends. But there's going to be a lot of surprise names that they're going to talk to and throw their name in the hat. Dan Radakovich is going to do his due diligence. But I can tell you that if Paul Mainieri is healthy and feels like he's got maybe 7-8 more good years in him, he's as good a fit for that school. It's very similar to a Notre Dame, a private institution, an institution where it's expensive, it's hard to get in, you got to go to class. It's a different type of player. He's familiar with the community. He's going to have, financial support. He's going to have a name recognition. He's going to have connections and ties to Florida. I mean, it's a fit in a lot of ways. Now, who his assistants would be and all that, that's TBD. I would think he might even keep somebody like a JD on his staff. Would a Javi Sanchez come out of retirement to be an assistant coach, a beloved figure and a good friend of Paul's, who's living in the Miami area, and would he want to get back into coaching? So it's going to be interesting the next few days to see what happens.
Yeah, and we'll see. It's going to be very interesting. And we mentioned the other day, Paul Mainieri is one of 11 coaches to take 2 teams to Omaha, 2 different schools. And I guess if he went to Miami, he'd try to become, the first guy to go with 3 different schools to Omaha. So we'll see. If Paul wants the job and they want him, and we all know Dan Radakovich, I'd be all for it. But I'd be surprised if he got it.
All right, TK, let's talk a little about the LSU Tigers. People have asked me.
Wait, Ronnie, breaking news. We got another name in the hat for the Miami job.
Who's that?
Louis Garcia. He just threw his name in the hat. He just posted that. He wants the job. Louis is in.
Listen, Tommy, the old saying, you got to stick with what you know. The University of Miami baseball program is going to open up a seafood restaurant in Coral Gables. I don't think they should hire Louis Garcia. We're going to have a seafood restaurant in right field. I would say go after Louis Garcia, the former LSU Tigers. Got a great restaurant called Garcia's Seafood. Just go by there, put it on my tab. Other than that, just stick to selling that fish dip. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, the College World Series gets underway today with Oral Roberts and TCU at 1 o'clock, Florida and Virginia at 6 o'clock. Of course, tomorrow at 1 o'clock, Stanford, Wake Forest, and then LSU, Tennessee. A lot of talk about this matchup. 6 o'clock, main platform of ESPN. I don't know the weather forecast in Omaha, but then LSU will play Monday, regardless of win or lose Saturday. They don't play Sunday. Bracket 1 will jump back in on Sunday with a doubleheader. That's the way the first couple of days of the College World Series are going to unfold.
I'll tell you what, TK, talking about Paul Skeens, right? It's going to go tomorrow. He won the Dick Hauser Award, which is probably one of the top. That Golden Spikes, in my opinion, is still the Heisman Trophy of individual awards in college baseball. But Dick Hauser would be second. It's an award that was established in the early 80s when Dick Hauser passed away when he was the manager of the Kansas City Royals. And, of course, he played at Florida State, coached there. There's a great picture, by the way, of Skip Bertman when he was a catcher at the University of Miami, sliding into second base against Florida State. And Dick Hauser was the shortstop or the second, and there's and Skip's trying to take him out to break up a double play. And Dick Hauser's coming over the top to throw it to first. It's a great photo. I was just impressed that Skip could get close enough to second base to even try to break up a double play because he didn't have tremendous foot speed. But a legendary coach. Paul Skeens won that award. By the way, there were 5 finalists. Dylan Cruz was one of the 5 finalists. So LSU had a 40% chance of winning that award. I know Eddie Furness won the Dick Hauser Award at LSU. I'm not sure if there's another player who won that. I have to go back and look and see.
I think it's Eddie Furness. Also, Louis says he forgot more about baseball than you know.
Yeah.
And then he says you got the Rougarou in first place and your ego is way out of control. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just relaying the message.
By the way, there's the field here. Getting ready for the SummerSlam baseball tournament over here at Pete Goldsby Field. Definitely feeling a little cocky. Rougarou, by the way, on the road. Baton Rouge Rougarou on the road tonight in Victoria and then Seguin, I believe, tomorrow. Or maybe I have that. Oh, the Bombers tomorrow. But they're in Texas for 2 games, Friday and Saturday, and then they return home on Sunday and Monday. So definitely make your plans to attend for Sunday and Monday. But anyway, getting back to tomorrow, people have asked, is there, who's going to pitch? Like as if there's a decision to be made. It's weird.
I think it's going to be Paul Skeens. I'll be shocked if it's not Paul Skeens. I mean, you got to go with your ace. He's ready. He's had the rest is appropriate. So I think you go with Paul Skeens and you hope he can give you 7 innings or more than 7 innings. And, and then you go from there and start Ty Floyd in the second game, unless Coach Johnson thinks Thatcher Hurd matches up a little better with whoever the opponent is. Like Jay Johnson said, he's focusing just on bracket 2. He's not worried about the other side right now. He learned that when he took Arizona today. You focus on the teams that are in your bracket, find the matchups, and see what's the best way to run a lineup out there. So, they'll be paying attention to the 1 o'clock game tomorrow, and then they'll play their game, and then they'll spend the whole day Sunday preparing for the Monday matchup. If they lose, it's 1 o'clock Monday. If LSU wins, 6 o'clock Monday.
What's interesting is that Paul Skeens talked about how he liked the fact that he faced Kentucky twice, felt like he had a better scouting report on the hitters and that sort of thing the second time around. And he's did that same thing against Tennessee. He's gotten an opportunity the second time around to do the same thing. I'm a little surprised that as a pitcher, you would actually feel like that's a benefit to you. Whereas, I don't know, I feel like a hitter, the more times you get to see a pitcher, the better it helps you as a hitter. But he felt like he likes the fact that he's seeing these guys a second time and has more of a plan.
Yeah, so we'll see. Oh, you're losing a little bit around. There you go.
Were you able to hear me, TK?
Yeah, we got you, and it went out for a second, but you're back. So going to be a College World Series weekend, but then the Rougarou home Sunday night and Monday night. We hope folks can get out to Pete Goldsby Field for that.
By the way, give a little quick U.S. Open take on the way out.
Well, you're not supposed to shoot 8 under in the U.S. Open in all 4 rounds combined. Yes, Schauffele, and they did that yesterday. The 2 guys shoot at the 8 under in 1 round. Just amazing golf. Rory McIlroy swung and missed through the rough on 18. I think everybody saw that. Sam Burns, former LSU golfer, with his first career ace on the PGA Tour. He aced the 15th hole, which is the shortest par 3 that's been on a tour in a long time. So U.S. Open round 2 continues from Los Angeles Country Club. Don't forget Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. If you're having some people over to the house to watch LSU tomorrow night, they got everything you need from wine, whiskey, vodka, spirits, the chicken, the sausage, the steaks, Wagyu steaks. I got everything you need if you're having some people over to the house so they can whip you up a catering tray or 2. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in Baton Rouge. We want you to check them out. Sports Shorts Radio tomorrow from the Bruley Walk-Ons, 10 a.m. to 12 noon on 104.5 ESPN. Speaking of the Rougarou, their Sunday night game will be on 104.5 ESPN where you can listen if you want. The Monday night game for the Rougarou will be on Pelican Sports TV in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and New Orleans. All right. Once again, I want to thank LeBear's Casino and Hotel, the Barstool Sportsbook, where you can bet on Major League Baseball, the College World Series, football futures, and much, much more. So I want you to check that out. Like and share this video. That helps us out a tremendous amount. Appreciate all the comments. Like and share the video. For Ronnie Rance, I'm Tommy Christ saying Sports Shorts Radio tomorrow, Sports Shorts Daily back Monday morning. Have a great Father's Day weekend, everyone.